To do any fundamental analysis of any stock and invest into that stock, you need to be a CA, that is a chartered accountant. This is a myth that everyone has. To do any fundamental analysis, you need to be a financial analyst. This is a myth. To do any fundamental analysis, you need to be a research analyst. You need to be someone who is working in a profession of banking, industry, financials, stock market, as a research analyst, as a trader. Well, these all are myths. To do any fundamental analysis, all you require is a very simple common sense. Now, for you to outline some names, I will give you some prominent names in the industry who has been successful in the stock market, who are coming from diverse background if you see. To call out some names, here is the first name that I would like to call out is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. If you see his professional background, he is being a chartered accountant. Let me call out some few names further. Second name that I would call out is Vijay Kedia, who is again from a commerce background. Ramdev Agarwal, who is a chartered accountant again by profession. Now you will say that Ajinkya, तुमने तो चालू किया video with a statement that you need not be a chartered accountant. But let me call out some more names now. Purinju Veliat, who is actually coming from a lawyer's background. He is LLB by profession. Radhakrishna Damani, who is the owner and the founder of Avenue Supermarket, which owns the brand DMart. आपको DMart definitely मालूम होगा. He is actually a college dropout. So in a sense, मैं आपको एक framework देना चाहता हूँ that in order to do any fundamental analysis, be a successful investor in the stock market or in any domain to that matter, you need not be really coming from that domain. Yes, it gives a smaller upper hand, smaller advantage when it comes to starting with. All you simply require when it comes to understanding the stock market and investing professionally in stock market is not really to have an education background so that you could belong from commerce background to understand it well. All you require in order to be successful in stock market as an investor is three things. One is a very high level basic understanding of macroeconomic view. Second is an eager and a desperation to learn new things in the investment world, because ये एक समंदर है. अगर आप, if you have an eagerness to learn about things, how things work in stock market, your financial creation journey will be very easy. And the third one is the most important characteristic trait I would say is having patience. So just stay patient when it comes to watching this video as well. I'm going to cover a basics of fundamental analysis, what it is, what are the things that you need to consider. At the end of the video, I will give you one very professional recommendation when it comes to how you should select a stock. There are different approaches in which one could go with, but the one approach which has been successful with many investors they have seen is something that I will tell you at the end of this video. So do watch this video till the end. Why? Because you will be able to understand that only when you watch this video throughout till the end. So do watch it and let me know in the comment below if you feel that that is an approach which even you should take as an investor. As we start on, one framework that I will give it to you, and maybe professionals who are chartered accountant maybe watching this video might not agree with me, but well, that's the honest truth and that's a real truth of any business activity. CA does not mean understanding business. चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट जो प्रोफेशनल जो एजुकेशन लेते हैं, दे अंडरस्टैंड अकाउंटिंग, दे अंडरस्टैंड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, बट इट इज नॉट नेसेसरी फॉर देम टू अंडरस्टैंड बिजनेस फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग ऑफ देयर करियर. एवरीवन लर्न्स. Many of my friends who are chartered accountant, even they will agree to this point that what they learn is accounting. They don't learn about business. Yes, they learn about some financial terminology when it comes to understanding about any business, and so that they can very well interpret those things. But that gives them a very smaller upper hand, and you as an individual not coming from a CA background can also fill this gap. So everyone, when it comes to understanding business, starts from the same level. So whether you are CA or you are a non-CA, it makes no difference for you as an investor in the market. With that note, let's start onto this video where I'm going to give you a basics of fundamental analysis. And by the way, for your information, I'm making a playlist on my channel where I'm going to upload a series of videos about fundamental analysis, how you should be studying about it, what are the study materials to it, what is it that you can look after investing in any particular stock, how different industries work, how sectors work. There will be many more videos throughout this journey of this channel that I would make on, and I will add to this playlist. These all videos comes for a pay. There are professionals who sell their course material when it comes to understanding and learning about stock market. These videos are totally free for you on this playlist. So do subscribe this channel and let's start on this video. When you start studying about any company, you will come across multiple jargons, multiple industry dynamics, multiple information. Where is that company? Who are the people? Who is the owner? Who is the chairman? And whatnot. How is the performance of the company? What is the work timing? What is the corporate governance? There are many things around to understanding one company. But in a primary sense, there are three important things that you need to look after. These three things are called as three financial statements of any company. So अगर आपको किसी कंपनी का परफॉर्मेंस देखना है, अगर आपके डैड की कोई कंपनी, आपके फ्रेंड की कोई कंपनी, या फिर जिस कंपनी में आप खुद काम करते हो, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ द कंपनी बेसिस की कंपनी के पास कितने प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, how many people are coming to the office, what is their work timing, what are the resources that they are using, how many offices they have. This does not give you the performance and the financial position of that company. That's why in a financial world, there are three financial statements which are prepared for any company, be it private company, proprietorship company, a limited liability partnership company, or even a listed company in the stock exchange. So किसी भी कंपनी के तीन फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स होते हैं. एक होता है बैलेंस शीट, सेकेंड होता है इनकम स्टेटमेंट, थर्ड होता है कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट. मैं इस तीनों स्टेटमेंट के बहुत ही डिटेल में आने वाले कुछ वीडियोस में जाऊंगा, बट फॉर दिस वीडियो, इन ऑर्डर टू सेट योर बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हेन इट कम्स टू अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस स्टेटमेंट, लेट मी कवर अप अ ब्रीफ वॉक थ्रू ऑन व्हाट दिस थ्री स्टेटमेंट मीन्स. इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड द पर्पज ऑफ ईच ऑफ दिस फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स before jumping into what is included in these financial statements. So let's start with balance sheet. Company's balance sheet simply reveals the financial position of the company at a current point in time. So as an example, if you are a working professional, say you are working in an IT company, or you are a lawyer by profession, or you are working in a digital agency firms, or whatever it be, आपका पर्सनल करंट हेल्थ पोजीशन अगर मैं पूछूं, व्हाट इज योर मसल्स, व्हाट इज योर स्ट्रेंथ, हाउ मच इज योर स्टैमिना, दैट इज योर ओन इंडिविजुअल फिजिकल बॉडीज हेल्थ पोजीशन. लाइकवाइज कंपनी का अगर हेल्थ पोजीशन मुझे जानना है, तो दैट इज नोन बाय इट्स कंपनीज फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन. So if I ask you about company's financial positions, the things that should come to your mind is कंपनी के पास पैसा कितना है, कंपनी का बैंक बैलेंस है क्या, कंपनी के पास प्रॉपर्टीज, प्लांट्स, इक्विपमेंट्स, मशीनरीज, लोग कितने लोग काम कर रहे हैं, कंपनी के पास करंटली उधारी कितनी है, कंपनी ने लोन कितना लिया हुआ है, कंपनी के पास लायबिलिटी है कितनी, कंपनी के इन्वेस्टमेंट्स कहाँ कहाँ है, वो इन्वेस्टमेंट्स की टोटल वैल्यू कितनी है, कंपनी के कितने सारे सब्सिडरीज है जो कंपनी मैनेज कर रही है. तो ये सारे कंपनी के करंट पोजीशन बताया जाता है इन अ बैलेंस शीट. सो बैलेंस शीट डज नॉट टेल यू द परफॉर्मेंस दैट इट आर हैड ओवर लास्ट 10 years or even for next 10 years. It simply tells you the position, the current financial position of any company that you pick into. It is as simple as that. To cover a little bit more about balance sheet, a balance sheet is divided in two halves. One is the asset side and second is liability and equity side. I will even explain you a small perspective towards balance sheet when it comes to equity management, why equity is there on the liability and equity side. So ये रहा तुम्हारा asset side और ये रहा तुम्हारा liability and equity side. So this asset balance sheet का एक simple mathematical equation है कि कंपनी में जितने भी asset है that should be equal to the the right hand side of the balance sheet, which is the liability plus equity. Now when it comes to understanding the asset and liability, there are two sections within each of this main broader section, which is current and non-current version of each of them. So when I say current, that means कोई भी asset जो कंपनी immediately within 12 months of time period, that means within 1 year of time frame, it can sell it off and it can get a cash out of that into their business. That's called as a current asset. A simple definition of current asset would be, in your own personal life, treat it that your bank balance is a current asset. आपकी खुद की कोई प्रॉपर्टी है और आपको लगता है कि वो प्रॉपर्टी यू कैन इजीली सेल इट ऑफ इन 1 year पीरियड, देन दैट इज योर करंट एसेट, दैट इज योर करंट एसेट. से आपकी खुद की कोई इन्वेस्टमेंट्स है इन अ म्यूचुअल फंड, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ करंट एसेट. कोई लिक्विड फंड्स में है, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ करंट एसेट. वाई? इफ आई हैव टू प्रिपेयर द बैलेंस शीट ऑफ you as an individual and your own entire portfolio and asset net worth, then all these investments which you can immediately liquidify is called as a current asset and it is put under the section of current asset. Non-current asset is simply an opposite of current asset, which means any investment, वो भी कंपनी का asset है बट उसको इमीडिएटली सेल ऑफ नहीं कर सकते. मान लो किसी कंपनी ने एक 20 फ्लोर की टावर खड़ी कर दी एंड देयर आर पीपल, इट्स देयर एंटायर ऑफिस बीइंग सेटअप. आप काफ़ी सारे बैंक्स को देखिए, दे हैव अ लार्ज बिल्डिंग, इट्स एन एंटायर ऑफिस प्रीमाइस ऑफ देयर्स. They cannot sell off that building immediately within 12 months. It will take some time. There will be people who will bid for it, who will negotiate with them. So it's a long process. So company knows that it is an asset, but उस asset को मैं within 12 months में liquid नहीं कर सकता, उससे immediately मेरे business में पैसे नहीं आएंगे. So that is being put up inside non-current asset. इसका similar replica है liability section में भी, which is current and non-current liability. Liability का simple definition है anything that you have purchased on credit or anything for which you as an individual, likewise for the company as an individual, is liable to pay that money to an external party. So external party could be say employees. Yes, employees के payments कुछ pending बाकी हैं, employee ने कुछ expenses claim किए. So if you do your business travel and all of those things in your own personal working professional career as well, company उस चीज़ को liability treat करती है. Then any kind of purchases that the company has made, that is also जिसके against pay करना है supplier को, that is also considered as a liability. So liability में भी current and non-current liability है. जो भी उधारी कंपनी को within 12 months pay करनी है, that's current liability. And जो भी उधारी कंपनी को more than 12 months का time period है to pay it out, that's termed under non-current liability. The next section within balance sheet is equity. अब इस equity का एक perspective है that you need to understand if you really want to invest and understand about business. किसी भी कंपनी में अगर यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल इन्वेस्ट करते हो, मान लो आप एक वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल हो वेर यू वांट टू डू योर ओन साइड हसल, साइड बिजनेस, साइड स्टार्टअप, एंड यू फॉर्म्ड योर ओन प्रोप्राइटरशिप कंपनी और अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी अलॉन्ग विथ योर सम सेट ऑफ फ्रेंड्स. सो व्हेन यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल्स अलॉन्ग विथ योर कलीग्स put in the money in that company, so that company will say that okay, these 4 people, they have put the money with me in order to operate me, in order to utilize these funds into my day-to-day operations. So for me as a company, I am liable to pay back to these different owners. I am liable to pay back to these different individuals who are the directors of me as a company. So from a company's perspective, that equity portion acts as a liability towards the director and owners. So अगर आपने आपके खुद के business में, मान लीजिए you have started your business for 1 lakh, so for you as an individual, it is an asset for you. That's a money that you have put in. But for company, it acts as a liability and an equity. Why? Because company is supposed to pay back that money to you as a director. So ये एक context है chartered accountant जो सीखते हैं when it comes to accounting, that कंपनी को एज इज बेसिस पे ट्रीट किया जाता है. कंपनीज आर ऑलवेज ट्रीटेड एज एन इंडिविजुअल बिकॉज दे ट्रीट दिस मनी एज अ लायबिलिटी विद देम, because company has to pay back this money to those different individuals, directors and all the shareholders who has invested in that company. The second financial statement of a company is income statement, which is also called as a profit and loss statement. इस financial statement का जो purpose है, that is very different than balance sheet. Balance sheet, if you recall, balance sheet gives you the financial position of a company as of now, whereas the income statement will give you the financial performance of the company for a given period. So it could be like for 1 month, what is the performance that the company has had? For a year, what is the performance of the company? For last 10 years, how has the company performed? What is the projection that you can make considering the last 10 years data and estimate what will be the performance of the company over next 5 years or 10 years period. So that's a difference between balance sheet, which tells you the position of the company, current health position of the company, and the income statement tells you the financial performance. Now, अगर income statement को अगर हमको detail में जानना है, तो look at it this way, that if you are a working professional and watching this video, tomorrow when you go to office, all the expenses that the company is doing, maybe with respect to the salary that it pays to you and everyone, all of your colleagues and everyone working for your company, the electricity expenses that the company is paying, marketing expenses it is doing, radio, media, news channel, reports, social media expenses that it is doing, it is buying some stationery which is required for the day-to-day operations, the desk itself, the expenses of that, the loan repayment, interest that the company is paying in order to repay that to the banks as a loan that it company has taken as a debt in its own entire operation. Moreover, any kind of selling expenses, so company wants to sell some product, so it has to do some logistics expenses, it has to pay to different suppliers, it has to pay to government, it has to pay to different party, it has to pay the rent of the office in which you are working. So आप अगर ऑफिस में देखोगे, कल जाते ही मॉर्निंग में जस्ट लुक एट एवरीथिंग अराउंड, वो सब कुछ सेटअप करने के लिए और वो सब कुछ रनिंग रखने के लिए कंपनी के जो भी एक्सपेंसेस आते हैं वो सब इनकम स्टेटमेंट में जाते हैं. कंपनी के जितने भी सेल हुए, सो सेल में आपका भी कंट्रीब्यूशन रहेगा. If you are a working professional, say you are an IT consultant, any kind of coding development work that you have done, any kind of support work that you have done. Whereas if you are say digital marketing person, where any kind of SEO work that you have done, social media marketing का activity जो भी किया है, आपने कोई सर्विस किसी क्लाइंट के लिए पे किया है, so client pays them for every service that the company delivers. That means you as an individual deliver to your client. So वो सेल अमाउंट भी इनकम स्टेटमेंट में जाता है. सो एट अ ब्रॉडर लेवल इनकम स्टेटमेंट का सिर्फ दो ही मेन पैरामीटर्स हैं. नंबर 1 इज द सेल, नंबर 2 इज रिमूविंग ऑल काइंड ऑफ एक्सपेंसेस, बी इट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रोडक्ट, बी इट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑपरेटिंग एक्सपेंसेस. जितना भी फाइनल प्रॉफिट रहता है, दैट्स व्हाट कंपनी टेल्स यू in this financial statement, which is a profit and loss statement. So it is very distinct because इसमें performance company का दिखता है कि how efficiently is company utilizing all the resources, you as an individual, me as an individual, how company is utilizing not just employee as a resource, but with respect to its own infrastructure, with respect to its own machineries, with respect to its administration, with respect to any kind of research work that the company is doing, with respect to any kind of asset maintenance activity, such as कोई एक आप देखोगे काफ़ी बार अगर आप ऑफिस जा रहे हो तो lot of time there are electricity expenses, electricity maintenance expenses, AC maintenance expenses, कुछ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रेनोवेशन आ गया, कुछ नया ऑफिस स्पेस, कोई नया केबिन सेटअप हो रहा है तो काफ़ी लोग आके काम करता है. दीज आर ऑल डे टू डे ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस ऑफ द कंपनी एंड दैट इज कंसिडर्ड इनसाइड दिस इनकम स्टेटमेंट. सो नेक्स्ट टाइम व्हेन यू लुक एट all the activities that are happening around you, it is a company's operational expenses which comes inside this income statement. It does not go inside the balance sheet of the company. So that's the primary difference between an income statement and a balance sheet. So covering these two financial statements, let's move on to the third one, which is cash flow statement. Many investors often ignore this financial statement because they think that it is only balance sheet and P&L is efficient enough. Moreover, to that fact, let me tell you, cash flow statement is the most important financial statement when understanding the company's position and as well as company's performance, both together, blended together in just one view and looking from a perspective of how much cash is business having, how it is generating that cash, what is the inflow of the cash, what is the outflow of the cash, and as well as what is the net cash that is residing in a company's hand. Look at it that say you are taking a salary of 1 lakh per month as an example. You might be taking more, it might be taking less, but let's take a unanimous number which is 1 lakh per month. Say you started saving 70,000 per month. So in 7 months period, you will save somewhere around 4 lakh 90,000, which is somewhere around 5 lakh as an estimation. Say you saved this thing, you didn't invest and you saved your money for next 2 years period. Then by that mean you will save somewhere around 17 to 18 lakh. Now that's a cash that you are having and you will find many opportunity to invest this money. So that's the cash position of you as an individual. Likewise, there is a cash position for company as an individual as well. Whereas if you recall my previous section of the video where I highlighted that company is also treated as an individual. So what is the cash position of the company is something which is revealed inside this cash flow statement. So do not ignore this cash flow statement. In fact, मैं तो advice दूंगा that अगर किसी कंपनी का एनालिसिस आप कर रहे हो तो कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट से जरूर चालू करना बिकॉज दैट टेल्स यू हाउ मच कैश बिजनेस हैज. बिजनेस के पास कैश नहीं है तो बिजनेस कुछ नहीं कर सकता. टू सिंप्लीफाई दिस कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट फर्दर एंड अगेन टू गिव अ वेरी गुड पर्सपेक्टिव फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स, दिस कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट इज डिवाइडेड इन 3 हाफ्स. बहुत सिंपल रखेंगे इसको. वन फर्स्ट हाफ इज कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम ऑपरेशंस, दैट मीन्स डे टू डे ऑपरेशंस के बाद में विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑल द अर्निंग दैट द कंपनी हैज गॉट, जितने भी रेवेन्यू आई कंपनी के पास प्रोडक्ट या सर्विसेज बेच के, जो भी एक्सपेंसेस है कंपनी के, फाइनली जो भी प्रॉफिट है दैट गोज इनसाइड दिस कैश फ्लो ऑपरेशंस. दैट मीन्स फ्रॉम योर एंटायर ऑपरेशंस व्हाट इज द कैश फ्लो दैट यू आर हैविंग. सेकेंड इज कैश फ्लो फ्रॉम इन्वेस्टिंग. इसका एक सिंपल डेफिनेशन ये कंसिडर करना दैट इफ यू एज एन इंडिविजुअल व्हाट आर द ऑप्शंस विथ यू व्हेन यू हैव मनी. For you as an individual, the options are you will go and invest in stock market, you will go and invest in mutual funds, you will go and invest in gold, you will buy jewelry, you will go and invest in some kind of properties, plants, you will go and invest in some kind of securities. So these are all investing activity. You as an individual might even invest into a company as a startup angel investor. So likewise for a company to invest further, there are multiple options available. It could even invest when it comes to expanding their business. Maybe they are building upon a new plant. Maybe they are establishing a new office. Maybe they are wanting to invest and acquire a new company. Maybe they are wanting to invest in some kind of mutual funds, securities. Yes, companies also invest because there is a cash with them. So it is not that they will always deploy in their core operations. They will also invest and they will try to get a return out of that investment. So all this investing related activity comes under this subsection of cash flow from investing. So in an essence, that cash flow from operations and cash flow from investing, that is very much visible to you and me as an individual when we go to our office. But there is one more activity which happens with cash, which is cash flow from financing, such as company takes loan from bank. So ये एक फाइनेंशियल एक्टिविटी रहा. अब कंपनी जब ये बैंक से लोन लेती है, उसमें अगर आप फाइनेंस एंड अकाउंटिंग से बिलोंग करते हो कंपनी में, then definitely you will have an exposure of what's happening there. So that's why you may know and you can even see that this is a financial activity which is happening. Company received some funds from individual investors, from different shareholders. That is a part of financing activity. कंपनी जो डिविडेंड पे करेगी इंडिविजुअल शेयर होल्डर्स को, वो भी एक फाइनेंसिंग एक्टिविटी में है. सो जो भी फाइनेंशियल एक्टिविटी जो आपको और मुझे एज एन इंडिविजुअल दिखाई नहीं देता, दोज आर ट्रीटेड अंडर cash flow from financing activities. So there are only 3 sections just to conclude upon the cash flow statement, which is cash flow from operations, cash flow from financing activity, and cash flow from investing activity. If you're liking my content and video till here, then do subscribe, because that is an indication to me that you are liking my content and I will be more motivated to make such informative and knowledgeable content. In my video channel specifically, I am focusing more on learning. Why? Because I feel that if you are capable enough to invest by yourself, I have achieved the goal of my life. So I firmly believe that to invest in a stock market, giving any kind of recommendation, giving any kind of suggestion that buy this stock, sell this stock, that's not my core job as a tutor. I am focusing more on educating the people, educating my followers. So do subscribe to this. As promised, here is a professional recommendation, and trust me friends, there are individuals who will charge you to give this recommendation and explain you to the depth. If you want me to explain even this recommendation to the depth required, I will make a video for you, but do let me know in the comment below if at all you are interested. Now, the recommendation is, when you look at any particular stock, when you start analyzing any stock, start to study about that stock, don't take a bottoms up approach. When I say bottoms up approach, it means that don't select a stock first, study about that company. Why? Because we as an individual have a pre-notional mindset that whenever we invest our time in studying a particular company, we start to like that company. And because of that, when we study about that industry of that company, you will see all good things only about that company. Why? Because you have already invested and you feel this is a good stock. That feeling turns to fact when you read more things about it. And that's where people fail. If you look, India is a developing country. इंडिया में हर चीज़ डेवलप हो रही है. सो एवरी इंडस्ट्री टू दैट मैटर इज डेवलपिंग. बी इट अ cyclical industry which takes up and down rally, be it real estate industry which just grows for 10 years and after that it stays down for another 15-20 years or 2-3 decades. Every industry in more or less some or the other way is growing. अगले 10-20-30-4 years में हर इंडस्ट्री ग्रो होने वाली है. दैट्स अ ट्रुथ, यू कैन नॉट डिनाई दैट. सो अगर आप किसी भी स्टॉक को पकड़ोगे किसी भी इंडस्ट्री के, वो भी ग्रो होने वाला है. But in order to invest in any stock, if you take a bottoms up approach, there are corporate governance, there are company policies, there are competition that the stock company faces, and that's where the company fails to compete with its own competition. Company fails on corporate governance. बहुत सारे cases ऐसे हुए. The professional recommendation would be, and that's what I would advise to all my followers, take a top down approach, take a macro view. स्टॉक मार्केट का और बिजनेस का एक फिलॉसफी है दैट इफ एन इंडस्ट्री हैज टू ग्रो, एवरी कॉर्नर कंपनी विल ग्रो विच सर्व्स टू दैट इंडस्ट्री. सो टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री एज एन एग्जांपल, अगर उसको ग्रो होना है, सो टेक्सटाइल में जो डाइंग करते हैं, जो कॉटन ट्रेडिंग में इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं, जो कलरिंग में इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं, जो फैशन इंडस्ट्री से बिलोंग करते हैं, दे विल ऑल्सो ग्रो बिकॉज टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री हैज टू ग्रो. सो टेक अ टॉप डाउन अप्रोच वेर यू लुक आफ्टर द पॉलिसीज where the industry is growing and industry is growing at a faster pace. एक hint दूंगा आपको how to know about the industries are growing. If you are investing in any mutual fund, if you study any mutual fund, every mutual fund discloses in which industries they are investing. Take top 10 mutual funds that you may like, make a list of industries in which they are investing, and filter down in which are the main 4 or 5 sectors that all of these mutual funds are investing, and that's a clickbait for you. If you know the industry, then thereafter you invest in any stock which serves to that industry, you will see it will grow, provided that this stock has a good enough of basic financial position, financial performance which are required. A good example of this would be during demonetization time, digital payment was growing, it was evolving. It didn't take that exponential path before demonetization, but after demonetization, there were no option with individuals. And the first option that would come to your mind, even if I ask you now, is Paytm. But it's not just Paytm which grew during that period. There were many other companies which served digital payment. There were different payment gateways solution provider. There are different payment processing companies which grew as a part of this demonetization activity. That's why an advice would be take a top-down approach when evaluating any stock. This is Ajinkya. See you guys in the next video.